Hi, everybody. Okay, so we're looking and talking about our swallowtail butterflies that come to our yard every year. So we have these citrus trees on our back patio, and for whatever reason, they've decided that they love those trees. So every year they come in the spring and the summer and they lay their eggs. And it's really fun to watch them lay their eggs and then to watch their little eggs hatch into caterpillars and watch them grow. And then eventually they go into their cocoons or their chrysalis and become butterflies. So it's been really fun for the past few years to have them in our yard. But this year was a little bit different than most years, and I don't know if anybody else has experienced the heat that's been going on, but it has been really, really hot in Tucson and abnormally hot for an abnormal amount of time. And so what we're seeing is something that I've never really seen before, where the caterpillars that are on the trees are going into their cocoons, and then once they're in there, they're actually exploding I think because it's so hot. I've never seen that happening before, so this is really unique this year to what I've seen, and I looked it up, but I didn't find much on it, so I'm not sure if other people have experienced that before or not. But what I did find when I looked it up was that about the highest temperature range that these butterflies and caterpillars like is around 94 degrees, and it's been over 110 here quite frequently for days and days in a row. And so after noticing that these caterpillars in their cocoons were literally exploding, and I don't know if you know about the life stages or how that process works, but once the caterpillar goes into the chrysalis, they turn into this goo material as they're morphing into a butterfly. And somewhere that's the point where these poor butterflies or caterpillars, whatever they are at that point, are exploding, and it literally the whole cocoon is exploding and it's just goo dripping out. And so what I wanted to try to do after I noticed that this had been happening repeatedly was to see if we could save some of the caterpillars that were either not yet in their cocoons or the ones that were already into their chrysalis, and see if we could bring them inside and get them to hatch out into butterflies inside, and then take them and release them where it's cooler. So what I was able to do was to order a butterfly cage, I guess you call it, but it's just a mesh cage that is soft-sided and it's made for raising butterflies. And you can buy these. You can also buy butterflies in their cocoons and do this as an experiment. But what I ended up doing was going out to the plants and taking as many that I could find out there that were in their cocoons. And also there were still a couple of caterpillars that hadn't yet gone into the chrysalis stage. And I brought them all inside into this cage and just wanted to see if it would be possible to go ahead and get them to turn into butterflies here inside, where it's a more comfortable temperature range for them. And so I read a lot about it and got a spray bottle, because that's one of the things is you want to keep them moist, and had a couple of caterpillars that were still just in the caterpillar stage. So I brought in some leaves and kept those fresh for them and made sure that they had what they needed. And after a couple of days, we had a butterfly. So that was pretty fun. And the first one that hatched out, I didn't quite know what to do with, but we ended up taking it up to the mountain. So we live not far from the mountains where you can actually get up into altitude, into the pine trees where it's a whole lot cooler. So I decided to take them up there where they had a better chance of enjoying the temperature. So the first one I took up there, and then the next day I had two more. So we took those guys up there too and released them. And then the next day we had two more. So we've had 5 total that. All right, so I brought our butterfly who came out of his cocoon yesterday up to Mount Lemon, just up to the pine tree line where it'll be cooler. So pine trees and vines and all kinds of stuff. And I'm gonna pull him out. Let him go. No, come on. Don't get mad. Don't get mad. There you go. Come on. There you go. There he goes.
There's our butterfly. First one out of the cocoon. Took him up to the trees. Hopefully you can enjoy the cool weather up here. Looks like there's plenty to eat out here.
And released up into the area around the pine trees, and it looks like there's just a bunch of good food for them in that area. And I noticed that there were lots of other butterflies and bees and all kinds of other stuff hanging around that area, so hopefully they're going to have plenty to eat and have a plenty comfortable temperature range up there. So I guess we'll probably never know how they did, but hopefully they enjoyed it. And then we do still have 2 chrysalises that are in the butterfly cage, and one of them I'm pretty sure is still a growing butterfly. And so I've been kind of maintaining that one. The other one I think is actually an empty chrysalis. It's really big, but it's very, very lightweight, and so I'm guessing that one is actually empty. But we'll wait and see if this one remaining ends up hatching out, and if so, then we'll go ahead and take that butterfly up too, and if not, then we know we tried. So anyway, that's the story of what's going on with the swallowtails in Tucson, and hopefully this video gave you a little bit of a visual, and I know it's probably a little outside the box of the way a lot of people think about what to do, but this was really a different year in terms of the heat, and I just couldn't watch any more of them explode. So it was kind of fun to try, and it worked.